A buddy of mine asked me to pop open his guitar here and replace the pickguard with a loaded pickguard instead. It shouldn't be too hard. The loaded pickguard gets all the work done for you except for the input jack and the grounds to the bridge. So that's what we're going to be looking at taking care of. I'm not much of an expert on this at all. I can solder just a little bit, just enough to get me by, but he's entrusted me to figure it out. So right now I'm just going to pull off the old pickguard. I'm kind of weird, so I actually like to categorize my screws by the hole that they came out of. And that's what I'm doing here. These are kind of rusty, if you can see. No focus on that, but anyway, if I have some screws that are better than that, I might replace them. But this was a guitar that was rescued out of a storage unit and then sold to my friend because the gentleman who rescued it knew that he was a guitar player. It's a 1994 Mexican Fender Strat with a terrible headstock chop, which is a bit sad. Right off the bat, you can see it's super dirty in here, but it's got some nice big fat pots. This one's only a 250K though, and we really want 500K, and the new pickguard has 500K. In the end, what we're going to be doing here, this is a ground wire that goes into the body cavity and grounds to the bridge block, actually the spring claw. And then you've got a power and a ground that come from here and go in through this hole to the jack. So I shouldn't have to touch the jack at all. These feel secure, and the only thing I'll need to do is remove this power from here and remove this ground from here, and you can tell, see, that's probably where his noise was. It was barely hanging on. I just pulled it off. So the new one, here's what we're facing. I took some close-up shots here, just in case I can't get the filming right, but okay, yes. You see this little red right here? That is the power, the hot line that goes to the jack tip. It's been broken off. My problem, because I'm not a pro, is going to be getting in there with that orange drop, which is this right here, orange drop. My problem's going to be figuring out how to maneuver around it without knocking it off while soldering. And a normal person who solders all the time would have zero issue with this, but we're not talking about normal people, we're talking about me. Alright, we'll see how this goes. Got a different angle here. I'm kind of not in the most optimal position. This is what we want. Right here. This is what I'm going to be working on. I'm just hoping to touch the solder that exists there and pull this out at the same time. So what hand do I trust to do which part? My soldering iron is nice and hot, and these tiny wires are tough, and I'm right-handed and I'm holding the iron with the left. Oh, here's out. Okay, I made that look easy. That part was. So now I've officially got my power loose from this pickguard. Executive decision. This solder is industrial strength. I don't know. It's stronger than my iron wants to pull off. So I'm just gonna clip off my ground right here and not worry about it. Alright, now this pick guard is officially removed. So I'm left with the tip, the sleeve, and the spring claw. So tip and sleeve are already on there, so I don't know why I'm referring to them that way. But with the new pick guard, we'll be looking to solder this ground here, solder this power here, and also solder this ground here. Oh man. Alright, I'm getting into the tough spot here. You got the orange drop here, that's what I'm going to call it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And I've cleaned it off from the old wire, except for this straggler here. But now I'm getting nervous. I've got a lot of things going on, so I'm going to pull this little selector switch out of my way. I can just loosen up my finger here. Set this aside and push it through. Now I can pull it out of the way. No pressure on it. Lots more room to operate. Maybe tuck it there. I'm not so sure about this. Okay, I failed to film that part because it was nerve-wracking as hell. But it worked. And then I got really nervous because you have 3 poles here and I don't think they need to touch, so I made sure that wasn't the case. And now I think if I can get this thing together, we can test it out. Because everything is accounted for, and I'm sweating because of nervousness. I'm going to turn the power off of the soldering iron here. Alright, everything's wired up. Yeah, I got a little careless here with the soldering iron, but it didn't break through. I could put some heat shrink wrap on it, but I like my solder, so I'm going to leave it. After taking the iron itself, or the guitar itself, over to the amp and hooking it up, everything works. But there's a grounding issue. So we've got heat shield here, shielding here. The shielding grounds the pots, but as you can imagine, this isn't that good of a ground. There's no shielding inside the cavities, it's just heavy lacquer, and sometimes the paint in here is good shielding, but that's not the case with this guitar. This might be part of why, but my grounds are good. I checked the input jack, ground is solid there. Ground is solid on the spring claw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this jumper ground here off of the old pick guard and do the same thing by jumping it from here to my star solder. Boom. Now, what's nice about this is my wires are already tinned. I already have a good amount of solder on each side. My dream here is going to be to bridge just like this. Are you seeing the vision? So step one, this should just mold right in. Alright, I'm kind of tacked it there for the moment. And we're in. Okay, so let's see if I can smooth this out. With these little pots, your disadvantage is that you don't have as much surface area. Okay, the ground that I just added didn't help. So what I'm going to do is called reflowing the solder. Irons. It's still pretty warm. So I'm just going to hold this in place here. Actually, I need to switch hands. Come on. So I'm just going to retouch everything, I guess. Everything looks good. So when you reflow a solder, all you're really doing is going over it to make it move around again. And these are all dull, so I'm really just blooping. That should be good there. Now we could get a little bit of my noise is probably, not gonna lie, coming from the excess cable that was used in this rig. But the fact that I can ground out on myself tells me that there should be a solution. I don't know if you can tell, but when I retouch these, the solder is flashing back to a sharp solder or a shiny solder. I really hate how much solder is on this joint here. Okay. I think there's one spot I haven't reflowed, and I don't even know what this thing is. It goes to a capacitor. Alright, I've reflowed everything. There are grounds galore on this thing. I haven't reflowed the jack. Maybe I'll do that. And alright, look, I mean, these are good looking solder joints here. So, they're really good looking. So, let's reflow them anyway. Okay. After this, I don't know that I want to do anything else to this guitar. It's done.